Hello, hello, and welcome, and good morning, Syl.
Yeah. Good morning, gorgeous Beena. Good
How
morning.
are you?
Good morning. Yes, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy that we're here. We 1 or 2 minutes late. Uh, However, it's because we're testing this new software for the multi-streaming.
Yes,
And we're
yes,
working out the quirks. There's only one way to do it. We started at 15 minutes too, and thought we had it right, and then we missed something, had to go back again. Um, so
it's all
tomorrow
good.
we'll
It's all
start
part of the
early.
process.
Tomorrow we're not here, but we've
Yes,
got it worked out now. At least I hope so. I
yes, yes.
hope
Okay,
so.
you can take care of without sharing a screen. You can take care of all these things, and
I will. I will.
the process will be smooth. That's
Oh
why
yeah,
capital P practice is a huge deal for us.
exactly,
In everything,
exactly.
practically doing something, it is okay. I was just watching that, okay, because just
Yeah.
awareness, of course, it doesn't mean anything at all. Building your muscle memory also is a huge deal because yes, I know, I understand, but it has to be innate. How it can be innate, of course, it needs to be on your fingertip. By fingertip, I mean that it has to be in your muscle memory also. So yes, even without having anything, you can make it your own and you can deal with it. Okay,
Yeah.
coming to the actually today's thought. While Sil is doing these things, we were busy in, of course, doing editing and all those stuff, exciting stuff. Why I'm saying it's exciting? Because it is for me to really jumping between me and the other person as a reader. It was really exciting because every single time when you read something, I first read as Beena, and because I have some sort of understanding and a background of all those things and concepts, so for me it is easy to understand. Okay, I know what Syl is saying, what Biella is saying, but as a reader who has no idea what who Biella is, what is Syl's vocabulary, just a new reader randomly pick this book and start reading, jumping into their shoes and start looking at the sentence and then the
Yeah.
paragraph and then the page and the chapter. It's a completely different thing. And why I
Oh,
use this word randomly picking? Because this is what I have learned from editing from with Syl. That okay, of course I'm just learning. I'm just on a beginning stage. I just learned few things. But what is the most exciting thing is that the most amazing piece of writing for me is that no matter from where I start, no matter which part of the book I just choose, I can randomly pick a book, randomly open any page, and start reading just a random paragraph or a line. And that line needs to make sense, even without the whole understanding. If it is
exactly.
doing that, if it is doing that, then it is making the real magic for me.
Oh, oh,
And
oh.
that
And
is the, yes, please continue, Sil.
no, no. As I say, that's part of the skill of connectedness, of discernment, of appropriateness that we can take apart and we can extrapolate the whole, what came before and came after. It's a very powerful
Yes,
skill.
and not only that, but to provide enough information for the reader who just
Yeah,
randomly pick any line or a paragraph or a chapter can understand that. So when
yeah,
I was in the beginning, when I was listening to Sil, I was like, wow, this man really goes like in above and beyond when he's trying to, of course, one can only try to make it understandable for others. In that case, it was me that he use a lot of words, different words with variation. Okay, it is this and this and this, and then he explained just before completing his sentence. He do that, of course, for me and for others. But in the beginning, that was the new thing for me, that he is not in rush to complete his sentence, but he's taking time, giving me time, and giving me different options to actually understand step by step and build that construct later.
Yeah, that's
Yes, it's
customized
sound.
communication, in other words. That's
Yes,
what you,
and also sometimes it sounds like, oh, what a lot of effort, and of course it becomes like really complex sentence. But if one is reading with the intent of actually understanding it, they don't need anything before and after. They can just read that sentence, that paragraph, and understand that what has been said. And that is the magic of this book of Ask Biella. Really,
yeah,
if you want to just randomly pick anything and start reading any
yeah,
paragraph and tell me that, okay, what do you think of it? So this is for me the
yeah.
real magic of writing that one can actually understand. So Ask
Eh,
Biella is something I have in my personal experience, and I'm going to write about it, that you can randomly pick
Yeah.
any page, any paragraph.
Now, what's interesting about the Biella book is that, when we first started, you came on as a beta tester for Way of Impeccability, right? Or
Yes,
beta participant. And
yes,
therefore, it's very one-on-one. And I was customizing my communication to you specifically, you
yes,
individually, which means I
yes,
share and I see and watch, because you would have your video on back then a little bit,
yes,
and see, both listen and watch to see how what I'm saying is connecting. If it's not, and from your feedback, then I come and I say it again and again and again, multiple perspectives until see, that's so I have feedback. But when it comes to Biella sharing, she does not always have the feedback. Yes,
no,
right?
no,
Directly. The only thing she's got to go by is to go by the question. Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm not
Just yeah.
particularly just paying attention to or just emphasizing what Biala is sharing. I'm sharing as a about your writing, the way you write things. So especially
Yeah.
in the Ask
Oh.
Biala,
Yeah.
if you just read any paragraph anywhere, just pick one and try to understand it. I'm pretty sure that one can understand just one that paragraph what has been said there. It doesn't need
Yeah.
that whole background, whole understanding, because the way that paragraph or this sentences has been structured is to actually share the comprehension.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
this is the magic.
Exactly. Right. But that's it takes time and effort in real time interactions where there's feedback. It's much
Yes.
more complicated when, like Biella, she doesn't have any feedback, and it's going to be interesting also in the different chapters. Her tone and style and way of communication is going to change, as we've seen, quite profoundly, because depends who she's talking to. Like in this
Yes.
chapter, she's got a history of speaking to Limo. Yes, Limo is a
Mm.
friend. It's mentioned in the beginning. So
Mm.
Limo is somewhat used to Biella, so she can be a bit more in depth than she might otherwise be. Explain it
Yes.
more directly. It's not so much the depth. She's in depth in other things, but she has to kind of premise things sometimes. Look like with the MMO question. She gives a whole long conversation which she had with somebody else who doesn't know anything about MMOs. The person asking the question obviously does, because they're using the word MMO. But the general reader has no idea what MMOs means, or might not. Yeah, maybe today in today's world a bit more. But nonetheless, she then takes this and say, if I just explain to this question and to answer directly without giving some background on what MMOs are, the general reader, which was for a column in a newspaper, so she has to take the questioner and the general reader both in mind. And she can't only specifically answer the questioner, like in the case of the MMO question. And the general reader, what are they talking about? What is this MMO stuff? And that's not ideal. That's quite interesting, yes, Beena? Quite interesting indeed. All right, just a little by the by before we go. I can edit the titles, but it's slow, so it's better for me to do them ahead of time, just to get that out of the way. You don't have to remember it. Okay,
Okay.
we are good to go. Let's go and to book two and where we were yesterday, and I'll screen share. I forgot to turn off my screen share when we started, by the way, Beena. So,
I said that. Yes.
oh, I didn't. Yeah, I did. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Now we're continuing from yesterday on this big, huge chapter. This chapter is such a big deal. And, it's like a book on its own, really. This chapter can be published as a standalone book. Yeah? And it doesn't even require all that much more elaboration, if any. Yes, it can be published on its own as a book. Yeah, because it has so much in it. All right, things will work out. I just want to go to the top of the chapter to put it into context again. From we're continuing, right? And
Yes.
Limo was asking about the difference between mind and honest inner voice. And as we discover, this really means how to live. Yes. And how to distinguish between what's real inside you and what's not. How to make decisions. In other words, to deal with the deeper issue of personal self-doubt and insecurity. Yeah? That's the deeper issue here with Limo. Yes. Limo doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily trust her own decisions. She doesn't necessarily trust herself, right, Beena?
Hmm.
Right? And so,
Yes.
but also, Biella's response goes about how to be, yeah, which is the real question. Because if you're doubting yourselves inside and you can't decide and all this, then you haven't settled your being yet, and you don't have solidity of being, cohesiveness of being, which is having impeccably good character. But having good character doesn't necessarily help you make decisions. Then we came to attunement. Yes. So if we go through these real quick, discerning decisions, understanding what decision making is about, in other words, right? If you're going to discern decisions, you're thinking about how do we make decisions, how do we get to make good decisions, what's needed for good decisions, etc. And Biella lays this out, but she says we can't trust ourselves because we don't have all the information. No matter how smart you are, you don't have universal information. So we need something else, and that's force of circumstance, which is reactive. Then you go a little bit further and you get attunement, which is proactive. Now you are bringing the universe and your connectivity, you're attuning to the universe. Why? Because when you're attuned to the universe and you're part of that whole rhythm and dance, if you're part of attuning to music, quite literally, and you're dancing to the music, right? You know what your next move is. Your decision is made for you by your attunement to the music. When you're out of rhythm, well, you notice it right away. So, in other words, each movement you make is a decision, correct? But when you're attuned to the rhythm, are you deciding each time? Oh, I must move. No, it happens automatically. It's a very good explanation for attunement that I never really used before. Right, Beena?
Yes.
It's really cool, right?
Yes.
It's actually very, very cool. It's really wonderful. Now, this is the point of living in attunement, is that your decisions come, all right, they might not be quite as automatically as attuning to music, but they are much closer. And because you are fully in attunement, the decisions are like kind of duh. Yeah? That's it. They don't really, like when you attune to a river and you're paddling and staying in the stream. Well, when you drift a little off the stream, well, your decision is very easy. You paddle a little bit to go back into the stream. If you drifted to the left, you paddle to go back to the right again. It's very simple. It's very obvious. It's very duh. Right? So both force of circumstance and attunement make decision making much, much simpler. Plus, you have trust in that because you are now connecting to universal sensibility as opposed to your limited bubble, which is what Lemose went with, mind and inner voice. For her, mind is something which is almost a corruption. Yes, and a real inner voice, which as opposed to regular inner voice, she doesn't quite know how to. She doesn't trust what comes from inside her because it's led her astray in the past. Yeah, and this is for most people. Made her making peace with the unknown. Again, she deals with unknown, shifting it to moreness. Right, shifting the unknown to moreness transforms the future. And that's a really, really big deal. We worry because we see the unknown as negative. Having impeccable character, contextual appropriateness, dealing with the awful truth. These are all tools that make us more able to trust and deal and make decisions. If you refuse to deal with the awful truth, that's going to be a blockage in your system. It's like a virus that's causing problems, but you can't see the virus because they hide themselves. Yeah, that's it. You need to deal with that awful truth. You got to get rid of it and process it and transform it into an awesome truth. and we want to test these things, unbiased testing. Yes, don't take my word for it. Don't take Biella's word for it. Go out and test it. And he's talking about removing ego, and then you see everything are gifts of learning. This entire philosophy of appropriateness, the whole A plus philosophy is all in here. To realize that all these things that come at us, they're gifts of learning when you're in attunement. It's just too incredible. And creating meaning, to realize that we live under this illusion that meaning is something out there. It's some pre-existing thing. It's what we define it to be. A very profound shift of awareness that we can create meaning. And then we can give ourselves purpose. It doesn't inherently, we can find it elsewhere too. But I still have to, when I find meaning and I find purpose, don't I have to decide whether it is meaningful or not? How many things did I come across in my life
Hmm.
that I didn't see as meaningful and purposeful, but they could have been. They could have been, yes. I got a little note from Grammarly or email from Grammarly that says,
Oh,
it
yes,
gives
please
me an
do share
update.
that. Do share that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because it's quite, you're right, Beena. I will. I will. It's quite eye-opening. It's a big deal. And let's see, where is this? Oh, I got it doesn't say much. Where is that? I saved it. I saved it. Where was it? Is it in my main file? Grammarly. Where are you, Grammarly? I didn't delete it. Okay, let me just search for it. Anyway, what this is from Grammarly, I don't know if you keep Grammarly at yeah, 15 April. Wow, was it 4 days ago already? Okay, I guess so. Your weekly writing update. Yeah, so they tell me this. I've been on writing for 11 weeks. I try to always be tuned in. I don't know why it breaks like that. I don't get this, but anyway, I've been very productive and make lots of spelling mistakes, but I have a good vocabulary usage. I always wondered this, right? They always tell me you use more unique words than 99%. Sometimes it's 98 or 97, but I always want to know who's that 1% person. It's just a fun thing for myself, right? Tells me the tone. Here's the point. This is why I saved this email. Right? Look at this. Look at this, what it says here. Right?
Yes.
Total words analyzed by Grammarly since April 22, 2015. Okay, so almost 10 years now, or 9 years actually. Yeah, 9 years. Right? Now, in 9 years, I've analyzed 41 million words, almost 42 million. That's not read. That's just analyzed. That's words which I can edit, which is words that I've in some way written. Yes. Now, obviously, what I read is probably 10 times more than that. Yeah. So I've read in the last 9 years 4 billion words. The point I was making to Beena is how much information comes through us every day, in other words. Yes. That's what really grabbed Beena when I said, wow, that's the amount of just information that I've put out in terms of writing. Now, this includes my text comments and whatever, yes, emails, whatever. Yeah. But still, there's an incredible amount of information that goes through us each and every day. That was the point here, yes? And now to connect this back again to where we were, right? In terms of the amount of information that we come into contact with. And we decide what of it is meaningful and not. It's not inherently there. We decide. It might have some inherent meaning, but I've still got to choose to accept it as inherent meaning. See? Make sense? The point is that we choose, right? This meaning and purpose, creating meaning. And then applying impeccability. She goes into that. And we get here to this point of things will work out. And I absolutely love this. I absolutely love this. I'm going to make this slightly bigger for you, Beena. There we go. It's much better. Yeah. This point of things will work out. It's a big deal. It's very big deal. All right. So we're continuing with this whole chapter from Biella, where she's laying out, essentially, she's providing tools for living differently to how we've lived, living in this new moreness paradigm rather than the superiority paradigm, the limitation paradigm, and the self-doubt paradigm, and accepting that to be less than is okay. That's BMN culture. We don't want to live with BMN culture. No. Yeah. We were just talking about this yesterday too, about being honest, right? Our BMN culture says, well, it's okay to not be honest. No, it's okay for you. You want to make out like it's okay because you so dishonest. It's a way of justifying yourself. No, 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 and not getting into trouble. No, no, none of that. And so we want the more honest culture. And we get to this. Um, actually, let's start here. Let's start here. Yes. I know we did it yesterday, but it's powerful to go over again because it's almost like she's starting again, right? Biella's it's she's recapping and putting it all together. So let's continue from here, Beena. I'm
Mhm.
listening.
Okay. Applying impeccability. The key in relation to your questions is impeccability. To me, impeccability at its most sophisticated is the best use of energy. Impeccability is not about being right or not making mistakes. One can be impeccable and make huge mistakes or be completely wrong. Error can come about, Errors can come about because of information not being available and change of circumstance due to random, unforeseeable, and improbable events or circumstances. What matters is whether or not we were scrupulous with our energy. Did we do the requisite amount of research and investigation? Were we diligent in examining our motives and goals? Did we look at sub motivations? Were we paying attention to our ethics? If we did all that to our satisfaction, to where we feel completely comfortable with our consciousness, then we can
Oh,
trust,
no.
then we can, okay, conscience, with our conscience, then
To
we
where we
can
feel
trust.
completely comfortable with our conscience.
Yes, then we can trust in whatever happens, knowing we did our part. And in this, best use of energy is the key element. We
Well,
don't always have the time to do all of the research we might like to. So we have to have a cutoff point somewhere. We have to understand diminishing returns. Key is to be comfortable internally with our real selves, to tap into our integrity and to never circumvent our integrity. Sometimes we are forced into accepting limited research in circumstances that when like that, we then have to be impeccable in our trust. We have to impeccably trust things will work out. Capital T trust. I have a question, sir. Should I keep it
please.
for later or just now? Okay.
No, please
So,
share now. Please share
okay.
now.
The usual conventional idea of the best use of energy is, for me, if as a completely new reader, as someone who has no idea of where Impeccably came all, when I will read that, okay, best use of energy means that I must not invest much energy in research. I must not invest my energy into like looking for from different perspectives and going above and beyond. This is the first thing I will get as an idea, because and oh, research takes a lot of time and energy. I if the
Yeah.
best use of
Yeah.
energy is just follow my intuition.
Yeah, but I see I added this in because of your question, right? So I said the key in relation to your questions is impeccability. To me, impeccability at its most sophisticated is the best use of energy. in all contexts. Yes, going with your intuition is really, it is energy efficient. That is, if you have refined and practiced your intuition. Yes, we think intuition just happens, but we can fine tune it and practice it, because really, if we take intuition, you break it down. If you are truly paying attention in time and awareness, you'll notice that your intuition is actually the compression of an implication chain. If this happens, then that will happen, and that will happen, and that will happen, and we put it down. It's an implication chain and an extrapolation all put together in real time. You're looking at pattern and rhythm, and you're compressing it. Yes, but those are skills which need to develop. In other words, your intuition is going to be directly proportional to your discernment. The greater your discernment, the better your intuition. Yes, so intuition is just a way of rapidly processing. That's all it is, rapid processing. But you need to have your processing process fully established. Yes, like martial artists who practice the move slowly, and when they get into a fight, they can do it quickly. Yes, but you're doing it slowly so that you can know what you're doing. But when you're reacting, you do it quick. But you've trained your muscles to be able to do that. Same thing with the mind. Yes, you do it slowly, and then when you need to do it, you do it quickly. So yes, intuition. We can even go past intuition, Beena, to silent knowledge. I'll borrow the term. Yeah. I love this Don Juan term that he uses, and I've never seen anything that's it's beyond intuition, because, like I said, intuition is still a processing. At least when we think about it, right? Most people mean intuition, though, to mean something that you're knowing directly from the universe. That's slightly different. That's like, a download, or I guess whatever. But when you take attunement, you also know. But silent knowledge is when you get to connect to things without thinking. No internal
Say it
chatter.
again, please. Say it again,
Silent
please.
knowledge is when you know, capital K, know things without any thinking involved at all.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And you know it without language.
Hmm.
That's why it's silent knowledge. And that's the best way to see it, is to know without knowledge. Now, we had this as children, but the problem with that is that our sensibility wasn't really refined enough. And so, therefore, even though we had some direct knowledge or silent knowledge, it ended up being subverted by our processing. So, we need to have the skill of discernment to be able to recognize silent knowledge for what it is, and not to go and mess with it. You cannot have silent knowledge if you don't have pre-established two things. Capital T trust, which means you've already established impeccability, because you can't have capital T trust without impeccability. Yeah. Which means too that you have this ability to absolutely trust that when you do get a direct knowing of that nature, you aren't going to question it, you aren't going to doubt it, you aren't going to suspect it, you aren't going to no. You are going to immediately act on it. End of story. No thought. How prepared are we for that level of capital T trust? We're not. We're too insecure in
Hmm.
ourselves to do that. Yes. We're too doubtful of ourselves. Yes. We're not at peace with ourselves. We don't have that trust in, not just trust in the universe, but we don't have that trust in ourselves. So we're not going to act on that silent knowledge. So it's just going to be a waste. And it's going to end up then being transformed into language and processing and debate and deliberation, which is great. Yes, because we need to want to figure things out. So we do get to that independence of being. Then we can access silent knowledge. Yes, that's going to be the best use of information. So best use of energy ever. Yes,
Yes.
to not have to translate. You're getting it direct. You know, you act, you do, you be, you feel, whatever. No, no need to even think. So yes, but that's future. That's a future book by Biella. Yes, and that comes later in the Biella series. Yes, as she moves closer and further and deeper into this path of closer to independence of being and what that means, right? So we've jumped the thing here, but it's a great question, Beena. It's a beautiful, wonderful, excellent question. Yes. So does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, I forgot exactly. Oh, you said, is intuition not the better use of? It is. It is if the intuition is fully developed and well developed. And in order for that to happen, we need to have the things like awareness, discernment, and understanding, because your intuition is dependent on those. Okay, make sense?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right.
Yes. Okay.
Brilliant. Absolutely wonderful question. Hang on a second. I in this new with the restream, I'm not looking at Facebook.
YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, Facebook. Okay.
Yes. And well, also my Facebook is sluggish. You see, I click on Facebook and oh, there it comes up. Oh, well, it's still trying to share the post. That's why I haven't seen if Norma said hello. Hello, Norma. I can't see if you're here or not. I don't know
Mm.
what, Facebook is up to here now. It's just been difficult. But so I haven't been
I
able to see. I haven't been able to see about the chat. So if you are here, hello, Norma. If you are here. Yeah. Yes, leave. You're just stuck now. But anyway, the comments do show up there in Restream, but I need to get used to doing that. You see, yeah, I need to shift to chat. Being one more thing to remember. And now, if somebody makes a comment, either in YouTube or Facebook, or when we get connected to TikTok and Instagram, that will show you. Right? So, Norma, if you're here, say hello. Hello, Norma. All right, let's get back to reading. Let's get back to reading. Oh, yeah, just for a while. That's fine, Norma. Of course, my number one rule of friendship or relationships is no expectations, no obligations. Number one rule. If you don't have expectations of your friends and they don't have obligations, you're free. You're always free. And you're coming because you want to. And your friend knows that you're doing something because you want to. Not because you have to, because you're expected to, because you're obliged to, no, because you want to. And when you do things because you want to, they're always pure, they're always fresh, they're always more. Yes? So brilliant. So Sebastian says, hello and welcome to Moreness. Thank you. Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. No, I love that. Feel free to do that. That's brilliant. So that's awesome, Norma. I always love that here. Again, see, freedom. We always want to be where things are free. The moment they become something that we have to do and an obligation, it taints it, it tarnishes it, takes the joy out of it. Which is, I was sharing this with my landlady, at least the manager here of the place where I'm at. And I was talking about free gifts because I got in I got to share. We're gonna go back to things work out, but I want to share the story. So I got this package yesterday, right? Nice big box. You know what's in there, Beena? Do you recognize it from before or not?
What is
No,
this? No?
don't know what's in here. Let me show you. Let me show you.
Yeah.
Let me show you. I hope I picked the right one. Yep. Oh, it's a bit hard to see. Okay.
Licorice?
Licorice. Yes, licorice. Oh, God. Now I've got to have one. Oh, I'm sorry. So, yeah, so I got this big box of licorice. Oh, it's not good for talking. It's so good. It's so good. Anyway, and when I got some before, I shared it with the manager lady. Right? So I
Mhm.
was sharing with her yesterday, and while I was sharing, I was pouring out some for her. That's why you see it so diminished. I only got it yesterday. I didn't eat that much. I shared it with her. Anyway, so I was saying, for me, sharing always has to be free. Yeah? And I'd given her my first two books, and I shared by email the electronic, just a file of Ask Biella book. I
Uh-huh.
said, my sharings, they are always free. And I explained, I said, you're free to not read them, throw them away, do whatever. And then it led me to gifts. And why I've never been all that fond of receiving gifts. Oh, so really, what's wrong with you? How can you not want to get gifts? Because as a child, I realized that gifts weren't really free. Yeah. And there was always some condition to them, some expectation, some obligation. And this actually came to a head when I was either 17 or 18. I'm not sure which birthday it was, but it was the last 2 years of school, and I moved to that new school. Anyway, one of my really good friends gave me a watch as a birthday present. Yeah. And he was very bothered by this, that I didn't like getting gifts. Yes. And he knew it ahead of time that I was not fond of giving gifts, but he gave me the gift anyway. I think he did it just to be kind of a little bit different and push me a little bit. And he said, yeah, but how can you not like giving gifts? How can he just could not get this into his head? No matter how much I explained, it didn't matter. Right. So came a point where I took the watch off my wrist, threw it down on the ground, and stomped it to bits. Oh my God, he nearly died. He was so horrified and outraged and shocked. And I said, you see, that's what I've been trying to explain to you. I'm not free to do with this watch as I please. You have expectations of me. I have to do something. In other words, you giving me this gift impacts on my freedom. But I could not explain it to him. I had to demonstrate it. I still feel bad doing that to that day. So sorry, Jeffrey, if you ever hear this. Jeffrey Sarenbach was his name. If you ever hear this, sorry for that, but it stuck with me. And, it was a harsh way to demonstrate this, but it never left me. And well, I don't know what difference it made to you, maybe, but I know it was harsh, and I felt very rude doing it, but I couldn't see any other way to really demonstrate this, right? I mean, it proved my point that I was not free to use this. And there are some societies, Aborigines in America, in Australia in particular, where gift giving can cause you to end up in debt. Right? I don't know if it's still that way in the society, but in the past, right? So yes, we give you time, yes, but if there's any bind on it, when a gift has an obligation and an expectation, it's no longer a gift; it's a contract. Yes, and that's what my point was with gifts. That when I was given gifts in as a child, I always saw that people had that expectation. It was a contract, and I didn't really care for that. Time is the most incredible gift. Yes, it is. Because we are free to do with time as we choose. That's the beauty of the whole universe. We are given the gift of choice. We can waste it. We can squander it. It's up to us. We don't have to be productive. We don't have to. We don't have to do anything. Yes, it's our choice. Very, very powerful. By the way, with licorice, you can't just have one. Okay, just so you're aware. As soon as Beena starts reading again. But I really want to make this point strongly about gifts. Yes, that they need to be free, and I really
It has to
structured
be.
that. Yeah, that's why
Okay.
exactly. Well, go ahead, Beena.
Yeah.
I mean, look at our relationship, right? There's no expectations, no obligations of any kind. If Beena can't be
No.
here, if I never see Beena again, I'm thrilled I had this time. I don't resent that she's not here. I cannot, because it's free. It's a gift, a gift, a gift, a gift. What a precious gift too. Same with Norma. It's a gift. Every time you hear Norma, it's a gift. I never expected to be here. And that's why I keep repeating. There's no obligation to be here. Because I know you're here because you want to be here. You choose to be here. And I
Yeah,
don't have
Norma
any
says time
obligations
is
as
a
a
gift.
result. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Beena. Go ahead.
Norma is saying that, okay, time is a gift and we give you time.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that gift. So sorry. I'm gonna have to have a couple more, but I can't just have one. It just does not right in the universe. Somewhere, there's my inner sense of rightness and attunement and connectivity says no, you can't just have one. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. This idea of gift and expectations. I understand this from Syl's perspective, that because universe also gives us a lot. And when he talks about different religions, and he says that, okay, why it is a rule, why it is something like compulsory. So I understand that his idea, because it is in alignment with with the basic philosophy, basic understanding of his whole life and whatever he shares. Of course, different people have different understanding, but it doesn't bother me because first you can always update. So at least not in as an absolute, but I don't make any expectations from things which I like, okay, I'm doing. So because why I choose to do that? Because it is completely against the deliberate living if I would not make my choice for myself. I am
Exactly.
choosing this thing and I'm doing this or that because I like to, because I choose to.
Mm.
No one has actually nothing to do with that. No one is responsible for anything. So I'm just doing things when I choose something for someone. I enjoyed right there in those moments to exercise my choice. And I did. So my joy and freedom, which I was celebrating, and the joy of celebration was right there. What the other person, they will accept it or not, they will like it or not, they will do whatever they want to. It doesn't make any difference because I just took my part already of joy. I already enjoyed that. And now I'm not putting on any responsibility to anyone. No. So this is actually the real understanding of deliberate living. When we are making deliberate choices, we are enjoying in those moments right there. That's it.
No.
Okay. I was just sharing for my understanding again. Thank you, Beena. Okay. No, that's lovely. Okay. It is very
Love you,
small, so
Norma.
I don't have the magnifying glass to read it.
I was trying to respond to Norma, but I can't. Okay, go ahead.
No, you can't. Norma, you have to wait. Syl, you have to wait. Okay.
Yeah,
Things
you
will
you
work out.
have been, Norma. That applies to you as well. You are a wonderfully giving person. You are very generous. Yes, yes,
Things will work out. And we have a proof of it, Norma. We will share it later. Okay.
yes, yeah,
Things will work out.
yeah,
Inevitably, if we have been impeccable and in the short term it seems we made a mistake, if we don't waver from our trust, we always come to see our mistakes were fortuitous.
yeah,
Sometimes the only way to connect to new opportunities, to connect to what we don't know yet, is through mistakes. In the end,
mm,
if we are impeccable, there are no mistakes really. It's all good. It has to be because of our
yeah,
intent to goodness and our trust in our intent to goodness. We simply have to make it the effort to connect to that goodness via perspective shifting. So taking all of this and applying it to the specifics of your question, to me, honest inner voice is actually seen externally. Ah, honest inner voice is actually seen externally. In the
yeah,
circumstances we find ourselves in, wow, in the circumstances we find ourselves in.
yeah. You're right. That needs to be part of that same sentence.
Wow. To me, honest inner voice is actually seen externally in the circumstances we find ourselves in. Oh, it's so wow.
Yeah, wow.
So taking all of this and applying it to the specifics of your questions, to me, honest inner voice is actually seen externally in the circumstances we find ourselves in. To me, this is my personal perspective, one I choose to hold because of the benefits it provides, not because of any implied inherent truth. It doesn't matter if it is true or not. To me, I choose to see the world as a manifestation of my intent, as a sum total of the expression of my beliefs and motivations and expectations. Thus, to know my true inner voice, what I truly believe, want, expect, etc. I look at how I am manifesting it all. My circumstances are the sum total and aggregation of all of my internals. My circumstances are the sum total and aggregation of all of my internals.
Yeah.
My circumstances are the sum total and aggregation of all my internals. Whew. What I materialize is thus a true measure of my inner state. What I materialize is thus a true
Huge.
measure of my inner state.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
This I
Look
choose.
around you and you'll see yourself. Wow.
I have two
Wow.
questions,
Wow.
sir.
Wow. That just popped out of me. Wow. 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 That's cool. I'm going to add it as a quote here, right, Beena?
Yes, yes, I choose to believe simply because it is useful.
Yes.
Yes,
Very cool.
look around you and you will see yourself.
Wow.
Okay, I have two questions, sir.
So,
Okay, so the first one is that when we were making decisions and and in one situation we are not sure that we were impeccable or not, and the second situation is that we are now sure that we were not impeccable. Okay, how to make peace with that situation?
say that again, please.
Okay, so we have two situations in the like, okay, in the past making decision making, either we were not sure that we are not sure that we were impeccable or not, and the second is we are sure because of now having awareness that we were not impeccable. How to make peace with it?
Oh, very simple. Very simple. Just be thankful that you did learn to be aware. Otherwise, you'd still be in that situation of behaving unimpeccably. And that would not be cool. Yes.
Because today someone asked me this question. They had some regrets about, like, okay, oh, if at that time if I would not react like that, or if I would not make that decision, the situation would be all good and happy. I would be still in that friend circle. So
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was a big deal, of course, for a person that to have his own friend circle, and those people he really likes them. They
Yeah.
also used to like him, but
Yeah.
there were so many things involved into that.
Yeah. Yeah. So how to make peace with it? Ask yourself, will you do it again? No. Why? Because you've learned. So you
But the
won't do it
loss
again.
but they feel that, okay, it was a loss. It is a loss still. It's a
But
big
that's
loss
just a
for them.
shift of perspective. Focus on the positive, which is you've learned not to do it again. If you didn't learn, you're going to repeat this over and over and over again. Think how horrible that is. Yes. Now, why do you assume that you came into things where you knew everything and were perfect? Is that the case? Well, if you were, you'd be an angel and not have any free choice. It's your choice. What do you want to be? An angel and be perfect and have no free choice, or be a human that has free choice, which means you have to start from zero. You have to build your awareness. You can't be given it. You have to build it, which means you have to learn and therefore make mistakes, part of learning. Yeah. Now, take that same decision over the course of just a few of the potential lifetimes we have. Let's just say a few billion, because a few billion relative to infinity is nothing. Yeah. So now, when you look at it in that context, yes, you've got billions of lifetimes ahead of you. What does it matter if you didn't optimize that one situation? What matters is that you did learn. Don't be focused on the negative of what you missed, because if you are on that, you're wishing that reality wasn't reality. So the way to make peace with it is to accept that mistakes are a necessary part of our reality. Necessary. Otherwise, we wouldn't be learning. Yes? Make sense?
I was
What
talking
happened?
and I was talking and it was mute. I was on mute. Yes, it all makes sense. That is something really again amazing. Someone was sharing with me that okay, how they feel about that the decisions they made in the past, and it, how intense it is. That okay, they are not a depressed person or something, but what they were saying is that it's like okay, when I'm going to market and doing some grocery and doing something, and this thought come again and again, and I feel really upset with myself that why I made those decisions, because he was okay, because that person is he get completely out of that circle where he really enjoy his time there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he is completely out of that, and since that it is not happening. So my answer okay was because that is something is related to what I was keen to share with you before the live,
Ah, ah,
that the energy connectivity, because
yeah.
we insist on a
Okay,
particular
Norma.
yeah, okay, we expect to insist on we insist to expect a certain resolution for that particular
Yeah.
situation, so that we
Yeah.
keep giving that, providing the energy to that particular incident, because
Yeah.
time is relevant here. So the event or the situation or the circumstances is still there somewhere, and we are by insisting we are continuously providing that energy, and we keeping this thing
Yeah.
alive in our life. So, and of course, as a return, it is also taking a lot of energy on its own accord from us. That's why we don't
Right.
have a space for the newest situation to arrive, because we are insisting on. And this is something I said that when I try to
Right.
explain to them that please, just once and for all, just say that, okay, yes, I made a mistake according to me at that time
There
because I
you go. There you go. Biella would say, hey, Beena and Beena's friend, don't be such egomaniacs. That's how you make peace with
so I said, okay, just accept that
it.
that I made a mistake because I was not aware at that time. I was trying to be good,
Exactly.
but it was not
Exactly.
happening.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. Exactly.
also that leaves few things to the universe, because universe has a bigger scheme. So no matter how much I was earnest and I was trying to make something
Exactly.
specific, it was not actually really complementing the bigger scheme.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
universe just
Exactly.
took its charge, and then it was in play. And
Yes.
now just say
And
I'm disconnecting. Set your intent. I'm sharing Syl because it is very special for me.
oh, go, go, go,
So
go.
like, yeah. So now I am disconnecting and I am accepting whatever happens goes for the good. This is how we are going to
Exactly.
actually disconnect. And I'm disconnecting
Exactly.
myself and my ego from that. And now I have space and I'm ready for the new things to come in my life
Exactly.
with my new
Exactly.
awareness.
Exactly. In other words, to your friend, you know, practice way of impeccability, because it will provide you the tools for making peace with that. First of all, you need the tool of impeccability. And then that from that you have the tools of attunement and alignment and capital T trust, in integrity and decision making, thoroughness, which comes from all of those tools will lead you to peace of being, where any and every decision you make is made impeccably, which means you'll never be able to have regrets. Never. because you were impeccable. This is the point of impeccability. This is precisely to avoid regret. You cannot have regrets when you're being impeccable. And so that's your answer. You get peace of being from being impeccable.
Your picture is frozen for me, Syl. Anyway, uh, even if it is not working, that is something really, really big. And thank you so much for sharing your perspective, Syl, because it helps a lot. It can be a life-changing, life-transformative thing for a person who shares this with me. And also that I was just amazed by the time, because this time they were ready already. It was not like something coming from externally. They were already ready for the change, to make something, to do something about it. That's why that was so earnest. And when the moment they were sharing, I was thinking about your quote of about earnest question, that okay, you regularly you share with us that okay, earnest questions do something to your mind, and you share a lot, not only your mind but of course to you. This is exactly what happens when you are earnest, when you really, really, truly, deeply want something. In this case, a resolution. Universe really make a conspiracy, and they do conspire to provide you a resolution for that. In those moments, yes, the earnestness is the key for me. When I asked you an earnest question, you gave me such a profound resolution right there. And when
Yeah.
the person who asked me for that, they were earnest, they were already prepared for the change, because
Okay.
they have done everything already. So in
Right.
their mind, yes, they didn't have that clarity about what to do, but the
Yeah.
desire, but the willingness to get out of that stuckness was already established.
There you go. So the two, to summarize again, because my connection dropped, so I'm not sure
Yes.
if you heard everything I was saying. To summarize, the real answer is either read Ask Biella or do Wave Impeccability. Now, Ask Biella obviously is not as comprehensive. It's all there, but you don't get the feedback and the repeat back and all that. It's not as intensive, but it's there. And if you make you're diligent, you'll get to the same place in the end, right? Or Biella Noble at Nobelia.ask. Ask Biella.
Yes.
Yes, you did. You asked them. But I mean, for your friend, right? You've already given them that. But,
Yes.
it's really, we have also the other key points, not just wave impeccability and learning capital trust and all of those things, but also learning to face and deal with the awful truth. The awful truth is that we're nincompoops. We're foolish, we're egomaniacs, we're silly, all the stuff, right? We have to
Ah,
face that and deal with that. Right. And now, what's the dealing with it? The dealing with it is learning things like Way of Impeccability, reading Ask Biella, self-improvement, developing, yes. But it's impeccability is the key, because there's much self-improvement that doesn't come to impeccability. All right. So please continue reading, Beena. I'm going to mute.
but you need to share screen.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
It is uploading still, so I'm waiting for that. Okay. Look around, look around you, and you will see yourself. I was just reading for the emphasis. Removing opportunity for error. Wow. When it comes to taking action, I simply ask, what am I forced to do? If there is choice, then I am exceedingly careful. For whenever choice is involved, there is also the possibility. And considering our history as ego beings, the likelihood of presumption and other complications coming into the equation. When it comes to action, I'm extremely leery of the possibility of inadvertent harm and or corruption. No matter how much I may believe I am helping, I run a huge risk of actually not helping. We are all familiar with well meaning unhelpfulness and well meaning help that we detested, detested, and that was most unhelpful. Thus, when it comes to action, I use force of circumstance as my guide. If I'm forced to act, then it removes the decision making from me and things simplify. I love this. When we feel compelled to act, it usually means our actions are ones we are happy to assume responsibility for. Wow. I love this. You're on mute, Syl. So you can't talk.
Okay. And here we come to answering your friend, right? Removing opportunity for error, and it comes to assuming capital R responsibility.
And now it is directly connected to when Biella was sharing about delaying the making decision making.
Exactly. Exactly. Very powerful tools, tools, not beliefs, not teachings, tools, sharing, tools.
Wow. Okay. Assuming responsibility. This is again where character comes into play. With character building comes assuming responsibility for our actions. When we assume full responsibility, it means we are prepared to die as a result of our actions. Wow. This extends all the way to the act of choosing to continue living itself. If we live having assumed full
Let me
responsibility,
pause you there, Beena.
yes.
This point about we are prepared to die as a result of actions. It's maybe there's a better way to say it, and I think I'm going to change it. When we assume full responsibility, it means that if we were to die as a result of our decisions, we wouldn't complain,
Hmm.
right? So you're
Hmm.
up there in the netherworld, or the ether world, right? In fluid reality, I don't know, you're somewhere else, and you're looking back on your life, and somebody says, "Wow, you went outside to go shopping and you died because a meteor fell on your head. Oh man, that sucks. That's lousy." He said, "Well, I made the decision and a desired result of it. It was a sensible decision at the time. How would I know it was going to result in my death? I can't feel bad about it. It is what it is. Yeah.
Hmm.
Going to feel guilty or bad. Was it a foolish decision? No. Now, if you like, your mother said, don't run out and play in the street, and you run out and play in the street, and you get run over, and then you're up there, and well, yeah, I was stupid. I didn't listen to my mother, and I knew I shouldn't have done it, but I did it anyway. Yeah, okay, it was dumb of me. See,
Hmm.
impeccability says I'm okay with that decision. Whatever happens, happens, and also we're going to go further. Then you're going to say, hey, you know, I lived impeccably and I lived in capital T trust. So I'm assuming that something good is going to come from this. And I'm just waiting. I know it's going to come, right? So you have a whole different mindset. You have a whole different mindset, right?
Hmm.
So when we assume full responsibility, it means uh, if we die as a result of our decisions, will or we would we'd be okay with that. Yeah, makes sense. That's better than saying, because to make a decision and say I'm
Hmm.
prepared to die for it has a slightly different implication and connotation to it. Yeah, which
Yes.
I mean, it's like there's the chance or a likelihood or probability that you might die. Like going into war or going to a protest or something, maybe a very dangerous thing. But going outside to go shopping, you don't know. So I'm not prepared for death necessarily. However, from a way of impeccability point of view, we know death can come at any time, so we're always prepared. Correct? Always. Always. Come at any time.
Assuming
We use death
responsibility.
as a leverage to keep us alert and sharp. Even if I'm going shopping, I'm alert. I'm living deliberately. You're not going to sneak up on me, death. No, sorry. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Please continue. Please continue.
Assuming responsibility. This is again where character comes into play. With character building comes assuming responsibility for our actions. When we assume full responsibility, it means if we die as a result of our decision, we'd be okay with that. This extends all the way to the act of choosing to continue living itself. If we live having assumed full responsibility for our choice to continue living, knowing what all could happen, then it eliminates the possibility of complaining. If, of course, we are impeccable, but it certainly eliminates any justification for complaining. How can we complain if we made the choice? It doesn't matter how seemingly small the action or choice is, the responsibility is the same. When we bring death in as an advisor, when we leverage death to provide perspective and use death to leverage ourselves to action, there are no small or large decisions. Any decision can lead to death. Either we make a decision knowing it can lead to death and thus act impeccably or not. When we know this and are aware of this, then we can no longer act and choose willy nilly. Every decision and
Exactly.
action,
Exactly. Let's just take that a little bit back. Any,
yes,
any, any decision, I actually need to put that in all caps and emphasis. Any decision can lead to death. You have no idea which ones will and won't. Yeah. This is why we have to be impeccable. Because every single decision, no matter how tiny, needs to be impeccably made because any decision can lead to death. It's a huge awareness. It's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Exactly. Yes. I could make the decision to do this. Yeah. I live in a dangerous neighborhood and that just saved my life or resulted in my death with a stray bullet from a drive-by shooting. Or the meteor that's going to fall on my head. Sitting over here, the meteor comes and I move, the meteor goes over there. See? You have no idea. Any decision can lead to your death. You have no idea. So therefore, it's all impeccable. Now, whether I said, yo, there, I'm okay either way. It's random. So it's like, well, if I'm going to die because of it, so be it. Tough luck. Right? You have to be a little bit fatalistic. But the point is, though, like getting into your car, this absolutely applies when you're driving. Yes. Any decision you make can lead to not only your death, but the deaths of others. I drive. Driving is a very serious affair for me. Taking your life into your own hands. And it's not just, okay, I'm sitting here, statistically, the chances of a meteor falling on my head are very low. But statistically, the chances of me getting into trouble from driving are actually very high. It's one of the most dangerous things we can do. It's one of the most dangerous things we can do. It's very real danger. But we are very blithe and we are very casual when it comes to our decisions, like driving. And not just you driving, but getting into a car, crossing the street, all of this stuff, right? Serious stuff. But again, you don't have to get morbid. Just get deliberate. When you get deliberate, it changes everything. Yes. Now that's power that's involved. Yeah, that driving is an act of power, an act of living to your fullest, and it adds to you, doesn't detract from you. Very powerful. Very powerful. All right. Please continue, Beena. Please continue.
yes, okay. It doesn't matter how seemingly small the action or choice is, the responsibility is the same. When we bring death in as an advisor, when we leverage death to provide perspective and use death to leverage ourselves to action, there are no small or large decisions. Any decision can lead to death. Either we make a decision knowing it can lead to death and thus act impeccably or not. When we know
Yeah.
this and are aware of this, then we can no longer act and choose willy-nilly. Every decision and
Oh,
action can lead to death, no matter how. Okay, now it's a repetition. No?
no, keep going.
Okay.
No, no,
Every
no.
decision and action can lead to death, no matter how seemingly insignificant. So we have to make peace with this. And this is most excellent because it enables us to choose wisely. If it turns out that our decision leads to our death, and at that point we are okay with it, then it means that it was a good decision, one that was impeccably made in terms of our overall ethics and sensibility. It means we made a decision or action that we are prepared to stand by. If we die because of it, so be it. There are worse things than that, such as living a perpetually compromised life.
Wow. All right. So also to your friend, to say this, to treat that the incident that he's regretting as a gift, as what kind of a gift? As a gift of motivation. To say that regret that you feel, that discomfort, that unpleasantness, that unhappiness, is it not a motivation for you to actually do something about your life and change? Yes. Instead of lamenting
Yes,
and
yes,
grousing and complaining and regretting, right? Turn it into understanding it is a gift. It's a powerful smack from the universe to say, wake up, don't do this again. And it's a motivation to change. Yes. But we have to have this awareness to perspective shift to see these things as gifts. If we're just stuck in seeing it as a problem, it's always going to be a problem and you'll never get away from it because you can't change the past. So, how do you change the past? How do you change shame and guilt and regret? By changing. If you become a different person, you cannot any longer feel shame or guilt or regret or lament anything in your past because that was somebody else. That was somebody else who did that. Somebody else that was that, not you. You've become a different person. You no longer can do the things that you did. It's not possible. That's that whole poem, right? The me of now and then. Seems like a good time to read that poem, but we, 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 we have lots to read in this chapter. But that's why that poem is so powerful, right? Be gone, you ghosts of then. Yes. You have no power. You have no power over the me of now. Right? And but you have to change first. You can't just say, "Oh, no." You have to actually really change. So use the shame, the guilt, the regret, the lament. Use it as a gift of motivation. Yeah.
yes,
So the question from your friend was, how do I make peace with my nincompoopry, my foolishness, my silliness, whatever? Yeah, how do I make peace? That's how do you make peace? By treating it as a gift of motivation that leads to real change.
yes,
The only way to get out of it. Yes.
yes.
Right.
Also, that the question was, they were not complaining. They were saying that, okay, I can get out of this anger on myself.
Yeah. Well, that's how. Use it as you're going to stay angry with yourself as long as you remain an nincompoop. But when you change, when you really, really actually change, that's when you are going to let go of the anger. How can you be angry with you? You're not the same person. Your anger would be misplaced. That was past me. Me of now is a different person to me of then. See? So it's a gift of motivation to change. You're lamenting and regretting, but you haven't changed yet. You're still the same. So there's a chance you're going to do it again. The only way to avoid doing it again and to make peace with the past is to change. Truly, really, deeply, profoundly change. Yeah. I'll be happy to send you the file of the Ask Biella book and you can pass it on to them. Or they can come and do
Yes,
Way of Impeccability. Either way.
yes.
It's a big deal, Beena. It's a big deal. It's a very powerful question, and one which we've dealt with many times, in the form of not so much regret, but in shame and guilt, which is even worse, And it's this point of lament, because your friend was lamenting the past. Yes, that lamenting of lost opportunity is what led the young man to that profound shift and changed everything. Yes, when people said, if I was your age, so we get these gifts, we've got to act on them, though. Got to act on these gifts. Yeah. But they're not even thinking that it's a gift. So the first point is to learn perspective shifting, to learn to see it as a gift rather than a problem. Yes. You can maybe ask them, what if this was actually a gift for you? Not a problem, not a curse, but a gift. Oh, okay. All right, we come to this Moreness. Wow, this is an incredible chapter. The more we go through it, the more I'm astounded, and we're only halfway, Bean. I mean, everything is brought into this. It's like the whole, all of it. It's incredible, really amazing. I mean, bringing death as an advisor in. Way of impeccability's intent, or one of them, is not only to learn to live deliberately, which makes my living in each moment, each second, valuable, useful, more, but also that I'm preparing for death. But I'm not sacrificing living a wonderful life in order to prepare for something, right? Which a lot of people do, like parents, they sacrifice their own lives on behalf of their children. You can do both. You can have a wonderful life and do everything for your children. You just have to know how. Same thing. You can prepare for life, for death, and live life to the maximum. This is what way of impeccability is. Yes. When I come to death and whatever's next, if there's a next, then I'm ready. I've acquired the characters, impeccability and everything that goes with it, capital trust, all of these skills there. I've acquired them all. I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever's to come. I'm as ready as I can be because I've dealt with all the unknowns of life, and I don't even see them as unknowns. I see them as monesses. Yeah, I've changed my mind, my perspective. I've developed these tools of being. I can learn to live deliberately. I'm aware, paying attention. I, of course, can be more aware, pay more attention, but that's infinity, right? But I feel that I'm ready. I have no fear of anything new and different and unknown. I'm excited, never mind fearful. I've shifted. Yeah, this is a wonderful thing. Doesn't mean that I want to go there right away because I'm also excited about living. And never bet an uncertainty against the certainty. It's foolish, right? So maximize. But also, should death turn out to be nothing at all, I haven't wasted my life. I won't know that I wasted my life, but I haven't wasted it. Very powerful stuff. Death is a fantastic advisor. By the way, if you're going to go knock on death's doors for advice, be prepared for rudeness. Death's very rude, at least in the sense that they got no time for fools. Yes. So if you come there with nonsense questions and you knock on death's door, hey, Death, what I do about my boyfriend that's giving me a hard time, Death will tell you in not very polite ways, don't be wasting his time. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. I'm not worrying about your stupid boyfriend or your stupid girlfriend, and your own stupidity. Do something, learn, grow. Don't be wasting your time in nonsense, or what dress I should wear to the prom or something. Yeah. Get real, in other words. So death's gonna really kind of give you a big smack there to say, wake up, stop focusing on absolute nonsense and really move on. Like your friend. Yes. They take
Yes.
that question to death and see what death is going to tell you. Listen to stop
Hmm.
complaining. Stop complaining. Stop complaining. You got to live. You got to live. Do change. Stop
It was
complaining,
not
right?
a complaint.
Well,
It was not
I
a
know, but I know. I'm not saying about your friend specifically, but
complaint.
in the as an abstract point, right? I mean, or at least stop questioning it. Stop querying. Stop feeling bad. Okay, it's not a complaint, but stop feeling bad. Yeah, same thing. Yeah, that's to say, move on, change, do, change, do. Time is precious, time is precious. I'm coming for you. That's what this advice always is, right? You see what I mean, Beena? They kind of
Yes.
going around in circles, yeah. That's why they don't have peace. That's what's the point. How do I make peace with this? Well, accept it and move on. And the only way you can do that honestly is through committing to change. The only way you can make peace is through a commitment to change and actually for real changing. You can't BS yourself into change. Correct?
Yes.
Face and deal with the awful truth, which means you have to do something. That's it. All right, let's continue reading. I'm really enjoying this, Beena. Really enjoying this. Norma says, Grin, what exactly is a nincompoop?
Nincompoop.
Well, no, she spelled it out separately. She said, what exactly is a nincompoop? So nin is is just old language, old English for not. And com is an abbreviation for complete. So it's an incomplete poop. Yeah, one that didn't quite come out right. That's not quite formed properly. I mean, that's how bad you are, that you aren't even a proper poop. You're like a half kind of messed up, incomplete. Yeah, see? That's what an nincompoop is. Well, that's what a nincompoop is. A nincompoop is just somebody who doesn't know yet. Yes, we're all nincompoops. That's it. We just don't know yet. Yes, we don't know enough. We don't know more. That's it. We foolish because we unaware. Yes, and it's just it's a scale. It's a degree. Yes. Now we can minimize our nincompoopery by being impeccable. It's the point of impeccability, to minimize our nincompoopy, not eliminate it, minimize. Yes. We understand that we are inherently nincompoops because we're unaware. We are acting out of ignorance. Yeah. Yeah. And nincompoops are also, there's a positive side to nincompoops. You need some nincompoopery in order to play and joke and fool around, right? So nincompoopery is also celebration of the ridiculous. Yes. So, yeah. I love this. You realize I was born to make you laugh. Lifts you. Yes, Norma. Yes, Norma. I just love it. So I always appreciate you so much. Not just you make me laugh, but you make me think as well. It's brilliant, Norma. It's brilliant. All right, let's go back to reading.
Yes.
Death as an
Okay.
advisor.
This is why death is such an excellent advisor. Haha. Death doesn't even have to say a word. Simply having death present when we make decisions or take actions is enough to raise the bar. Death is the ultimate provider of context. Death very, very quickly will let us know if we acting from pettiness or not. If we aren't prepared to die as a consequence, then usually it means deliberate lessness is involved. Pettiness shrivels in the presence of death or in the presence of the overall, in the presence of universal perspective. Death is one side of it. Our life goals, universal perspective, is the other. We can use these to gain perspective. And when we are in doubt, when confused, when at a loss for how to how
Sorry,
to
I
act.
shifted there. Sorry.
Okay. No.
Yeah. I had to make that into the paragraph was too long. So start here from death is one side of it.
Okay, death is one side of it. Our life goals, universal perspective is the other. We can use these to gain perspective. And when we are in doubt, when confused, when at a loss for how to act, how to choose or decide, it is perspective we need most. Perspective allows us to see clearer, see in context, and thus be able to determine appropriateness. Thus, the question is almost always, how is this appropriate in relation to my death and in relation to my life goals, in relation to universal perspective? When we ask this, then things usually become simple and we go back to letting force of circumstance decide. Force of circumstance, thus, is the
One
need.
moment. One moment. Let's go back uh, to Limo's question. So speak to me on how you personally discern the difference between mind and honest inner voice. Now let's take this direct advice here. Yes, from
Yes.
Biella. And when we ask, right? Okay, so Limo, how is this appropriate in relation to your death, in relation to your life goals, in relation to universal perspective? Well, You see, now it's like, well, she could say, well, how does that affect my death? I don't know how to make good decisions. That's really what it boils down to. I don't know which one to trust. You see, and now we get back to, if you don't know which one to trust, well, then you need to learn discernment. And again, it's part of impeccability, all of that. See? So when you put that things into the context of your death or the entire life, it changes everything, right? It changes everything. I mean, this is a serious question. But now it starts to have that pertinence and relevance and connectivity. Yeah. Please continue, Beena. Force of circumstance.
Okay, where I was.
Right, yeah.
Force of circumstance, thus, is to me the representation of the manifestation of our deep and true sensibility, the manifestation of that intent to goodness, mine and of everything. Thus, I trust that force of circumstance is steering me in the direction I really and truly down deep want. Yes.
Wow. Well done for reading it there. Well done for reading it as it's written. So this is all wrong here. And I want to change that to materialization, but I'll do that in a moment. The materialization of that intent to goodness, mine and for everything. Thus, I trust that force of circumstance is steering me in the direction I really and truly want down deep. Or steering me in the direction I really and truly, yeah, I guess I have to put that in. Want down deep. Yeah. You can say it as down deep want, but it's a little clumsy. Okay. Okay. Force of circumstance, thus, is to me a representation of the materialization of our deep and true sensibility, the materialization of that intent to goodness, mine and for everything. Yeah. So this is a big deal here. The difference between materialization and manifestation. Materialization. Because to manifest something, it comes up within the material continuum. Yes?
Yes.
But materialization implies, as that understanding deeper down, maybe it doesn't matter in this context, but in Biella is going to share at some point about the world being a description. Yes, and that we are materializing, we are making energy into matter. That's materializing as opposed to manifest. It's similar, but the thing happens to be there in part of the materialization. It's not part of the entire construct. I don't know. And also it kind of means the same, but it's not really that different, but just materialization has more baggage. It's more like wish fulfillment. It has that association with it through the whole secret and all that, right? So to manifest means I can get something for nothing. Whereas to materialize, well, I'm creating all of reality. And if I went around just having everything I want and everybody did that, it'd be a mess, it'd be havoc. Anyway, at least that's the implication. Might not be. Maybe we can materialize a better reality than the one we have, where we do have everything we want. We may have to change a lot, though. All right, true self. Anyway, I just prefer the term. All right, please continue, Beena.
Yeah, just a minute, sir. I'm having a call, so please continue.
Oh. Norma says, how do we come to perspective? By practicing.
Ah,
It's by practicing. And
Okay, so it is dropping again. No problem, Syl will come back again. It was again continuous. It was I was having a call and that Syl's network dropped. This perspective shifting, Norma, when you were asking in the beginning, I was also struggling with to understand that perspective shifting. What actually makes it difficult to see the different perspective is first a lack of awareness, of course. Second, insist on that whatever I have right now, this is the reality, this is the fact. And the third thing is also uh, instead of focusing on understanding, we just focus on to get a resolution or a solution. That inhibits us to get a different perspective. I really struggle for that to understand that because sometimes when people participants they were asking questions to Syl, and sometimes they'll just say, okay, ask me. That's okay, Beena, what about you? What do you think of it? To share a perspective, to share a different perspective, of course, this is all what we can do. So to share a different perspective, we have to move our focus from I need to have an answer. I need to respond. I need to be appropriate on all that instead of just trying to understand in the process itself. Just try to understand. That only gives me, okay, at least this is how it works for me. That only
Yeah,
gives me a different perspective. Otherwise, no matter how much I try, it doesn't.
yeah, yeah. And then that's really cool. So practice. That's how we come to perspective, right? Just practice, shift. And again, you say a lot of time in planning, is this the best use of energy? Absolutely. Absolutely. Ask anybody who's involved in anything complicated, and they will say, 5 minutes of planning will save you 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years, 5 decades, 5 centuries of trouble.
Wow.
So that's why it's the best use of time. Because you might say, yeah, but I'm wasting time planning. I could be living. But it enables what comes after to be more effective, more fluid, more useful, more valuable, more relevant, more pertinent, etc. Right? So when we plan, we get more value later. The overall value is way, way, way greater. That time is not a waste of or usage of energy. It's an investment. Yeah. And when we understand that planning is an investment of time, same thing with training and practicing. Practicing to perspective shift is likewise an investment in time. And most people live their lives by using energy, not investing it. It's like money. If you keep using your money, spend, 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 you don't get a return on that spending later. It's you spend it and it's gone. Yeah? So if you have the ability to invest your money, this makes a lot more sense, right? And you get a return on the investment and you spend that instead. Uh, That's if you're in a situation to do that. But it's a great lesson for us when we consider that money is energy. I mean, it's just a representation of energy, right? The more energy it takes to make something, the more expensive it is. And the more scarce it is, which means you have to spend more time and energy to find it, the more expensive it is. So money is energy. It's a direct representation of energy. And the more expensive, the more energy. So when we think of this, of energy as something to invest rather to spend, then planning is never, ever a waste of energy because it's an investment, not an expenditure. Yes? Makes sense? Materialize, manifest, I did kind of explain. They they really kind of mean the same thing. I'm just not a fan of the word manifest because in uh, what's the name of the thing that they call it, Beena? I've kind of tuned it out of my brain already.
Like
Uh,
to the law of attraction and the
Law of attraction, yes. Law of attraction has corrupted us. I mean, yes, what they're saying in essence is there. But what it's boiled down to is a shortcut for people to just simply get what I want. And they don't learn to be impeccable, they don't learn to be sensible, and they get what they think they want, and it causes them trouble. Yes. And they get all sorts of wrong stuff. And also, it's become seen as a shortcut. Yes, a shortcut for greed and for self-indulgence and pettiness and all of this. And that's why I don't care for the term manifest, right? Because it's associated with law of attraction. And they unfortunately have abused the thing somewhat, right? And many, maybe not the original intenders of it, I don't know, but at least those who are selling law of attraction, they just totally appealing to people's greed and insecurity and egos and all the stuff. So it's a corrupted word. That's why I prefer. But really, I guess you can manifest something that's immaterial. Like I can manifest uh, an angry person because, well, I've been focused on anger. See, so well, I can manifest the anger in somebody, which the anger isn't necessarily material, but to materialize means to bring into actuality, I guess, as a physical thing, whereas manifest is to bring into actuality in any way possible. I guess that would be the real technical difference between the two. You materialize is make it into a material, like anger is not material necessarily. You see, so that would be the real difference. But other than that, it's the same thing. Yeah, yeah. Well, also manifest as implications of things being there in the abstract. Like I could manifest the Ferrari, but not necessarily have it in my own life as a material possession. You know, like I'm focused on the Ferrari, and well, suddenly my friend wins the lottery and gets the Ferrari. I didn't materialize it for me, which materialization, it sort of has that implication that I'm making it into actuality that's directly touchable and handleable. Whereas to manifest it, well, it's over there. It's my friends or my cousins or whoever, somebody else. I don't know. I don't have direct ability to touch it. You see, so there's an abstractness to it, a disconnection to it. All right, please continue, Beena. I enjoyed your explanation to Norma as well. Wonderful. Love your
Force of,
questions.
yes, true self. Force of circumstance is thus the expression of our true self, our deep and true self, the one that is completely outside of the influence of negative ego. Force of circumstance is thus the expression of that self that knows without knowing. Our ego self or conscious self is an infant awareness, one that is trying to know without knowing, to be aware of what it is that we know. This is the grand task as I see it, to become conscious of the incredible awesomeness that we are. We already have the ability to create reality, to filter and compose it to be the most absolute best for
Sorry, Beena.
us.
Sorry. More editing than I thought. Yeah, sorry. All right.
We
Sorry.
already have the ability to create reality, to filter and compose it to be the most absolute best for us in terms of what we truly and deeply want most, which is to evolve, to be good, and so on. To be free and to be aware so that we can be able to make use of that freedom, to be aware so that we can be strategic in the use of our freedom, because of course with freedom also comes responsibility, because with freedom also comes risk. With freedom, complete freedom, comes the option to do ourselves harm. Wow. Okay, complete freedom comes the option to do ourselves harm. And without awareness, we can easily, inadvertently do ourselves harm through unintended consequences. So, in the
There you
meantime,
go. Again, a reason for planning, Norma. Planning.
to me, the key to sorry, sir, sorry, it was delayed. Please continue.
I'm saying planning minimizes or reduces the risks of the unforeseen, the chances of the unforeseen through unintended consequences. And here's the thing, yes, like in politics, gaming, especially in gaming, you see this all the time. Right? In the games, they do an update to the game, and there are always these unintended consequences which the gamers exploit like crazy. Yes, and it's become a real thing in gaming. So they even make a disclaimer to say if this leads to anything where you can exploit, you're going to get in trouble for exploiting it, right? So they're saying it's like, they make a new law and then there's some unintended consequence that allows you to break the law. And that sometimes does happen in real life also, right? Or some policy or whatever allows you to squirrel and do things. But this unintended consequences is a very real fact of life. But of course, with planning, we can minimize it. Yes, minimize it, minimize it, minimize it. So, like the SEALs, there's actually some very good self-help books written by some of the SEALs, and they're really, really excellent because they've understood the abstract, and they'll talk about things like planning. They said no matter how good your plans are, when you go into action, those plans essentially sometimes go to naught. So really, what you need to do is learn to plan for the unexpected, which is what appropriateness is. You are planning to be able to be appropriate in any situation, to be fluid, flexible, adaptable, to change, to shift, to be able to identify your intent. If you know what your intent is, plans become much simpler. You got clarity of intent. Isn't that your plan right there? I know exactly precisely what I want. The whole world is going to conspire to, and your brain is going to assist you by identifying and isolating that which is pertinent and relevant to your intent. Yes. And when things go FUBAR, like in your SEAL and all goes, you got one intent, get out, stay alive. Things are very clear. No matter what your plan is, I got to get out. Now, of course, getting out, if you're not trained, you can just run in the first direction. And of course, this could be the worst thing to do. Yeah. Like, for instance, if you get confronted by a predator, the moment you start running, the thing chases you because it might not even be hungry, but you're triggering its chase response. And that's awareness. See, all of these things come from awareness, and awareness is just a deliberate intent to be more aware, to learn, learn, learn. And learning must then become something that you want to do. If learning is seen as onerous and stressful and unpleasant, like we were taught at school, then we're lost. Then we are truly lost. Yeah, and it's always a struggle, and I don't want to learn. Well, then you're just going to stay stupid. Sorry. It's just the reality. We start stupid, and if we don't enjoy learning, we're going to struggle to learn. We're going to learn slowly. And some people refuse to learn. They absolutely deliberately refuse to learn, and then they get stuck. That's why your questions, Norma, you want to learn, be Venus questions, and not just the questions, but the sharing. Through sharing, we learn in the most free and beautiful and delightful and joyful way there is, because it's a way of play. Yes, playing is learning too. All goes together. All goes together. All right. Oh, just a little aside there. It's just cool stuff. Just cool stuff. Please go ahead, Beena.
Okay, true self. This is what we were learning. No,
Oh,
so in
yeah,
the
you're at the
meantime,
bottom. So in the meantime.
to me, the key to it all is force of circumstance. It's how I learn and how I connect to that part of me that already knows. The part of me that is the universe. Hence, the become one perspective that is so prevalent in the spiritual and philosophical teachings.
Yeah, yeah. That is so
That's
prevalent.
so,
Oh, I heard of the there. Yeah.
okay. Connecting to more. Force of circumstance is the connecting link. It is how we interact with ourselves. In paying attention to force of circumstance, we are, of course, also paying attention to circumstances. This leads us to access and become aware of all the bonus gifts. The completely gratuitous,
Gratuitous.
gratuitous, the completely gratuitous gifts which are constantly coming our way. These usually manifest as anomalies in some way. They do this because they have to catch our attention, needing to stand out from the maintenance manifestation. A key perspective to anomalies and abstraction is to see circumstance in symbolic terms, to use the language of the universe or the language of the subconscious, to interpret circumstance and particularly force of circumstance. It all comes down to maintaining perspective and to creating perspective. Whenever we are at loss, we are a loss in terms of what to do or think or act or choose. All we have to do in order to get clarity is create additional perspective. This is the key. It is why abstracting is a cornerstone. When we abstract, we instantly create additional perspective. When we have perspectives, we can see things in context and we can see things in connection to all contexts. It all becomes simple and then life is easy. So, as a simple answer, I would just say zoom out. Biella.
Wow.
Okay, this is whenever we are at loss or we are a loss. Second line, last paragraph.
Uh, I was still editing up here. In the
Okay.
last paragraph,
Yes. Second from the top line.
it all comes down to maintaining perspective and to creating perspectives. Whenever we are whenever we are, it's at the loss in terms of what to do or think or act or choose. All we have to do in order to get clarity is create additional perspectives. Yeah. That doesn't actually need to be capitalized. Is to get clarity, is create additional perspectives. This is the key. It's why abstracting is a cornerstone. When we abstract, we instantly create additional perspectives. When we have perspective, we can see things in context. And when we can see things in connection to all contexts, it all becomes simple. And then life is easy. So, as a simple answer, I would just say zoom out. Yeah, yeah. Which means, Beena, that this I must take to the top and replace, because you see, remember, Biella said she'll start with the end paragraph, right?
Yes.
Right. Oh. All right. Now I haven't. There's more editing that still needs to be done, but I'm over here somewhere when it comes to uh, listening to the audio through the speech to text or text to speech. I mean, and then I read along with it. Now I get a bit behind, and so there is going to be a further editing of this, by the way. But wow, we're not at the end of this yet, right? We got to where it said Biella, but that's not the end. There's an advisor to self Biella. Okay. And I think there is a few comments on the entirety of my interaction with Limo and interactions in general. And I think we'll leave this for tomorrow. Yes. Because look, it's still a lot.
Yes.
I mean, see how far it is here?
Yes.
So we
Yes.
just a little past halfway now. Yeah. Wow. This just a huge, like I said, this could be a little mini book in itself. And I might just do that, Beena. Might just do that. Publish it as its own book. Yeah. Little mini book.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. I love that. And I just love the world and I just love everything and I love life and I love Beena. I love Norma. I love everybody. Yes. I do, I do. Now, does this mean it's all the same? No.
Yes.
No. It's an assumption, but why? Based on what? Why does it have to be the same? And again, just because when it's not the same, does that imply that since it's not the same, it's more and less. No, 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 no. Does not imply that. Difference
Hmm.
does not imply less or more. That is a habit from superiority paradigm. Because I see everything as either less or more, as the whole psychology. No. I love you differently and I love you differently. I love you differently, end of story. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's more or less. That's just no. This again from Nobelia thinking, from Biella's point of view, it's like, come on, no, 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 no. This is out of the question. It is out of the question to compare loving. Out of the question. It's no difference. It's just different. That's it. End of story. No more than that. Don't get stuck in that thinking, because that's thinking that yeah, it's thinking. That thinking is stinking thinking. It's just a dead end that leads you just down into nowhere. Yeah. No. It's amazing. It's amazing when how much habit, which is so key and crucial in way of impeccability, is such a big deal. Just this habit of thinking in more or less terms, it corrupts love. Yes? Very profound what I'm saying, if you ask me.
Yes, yes, yes.
Very, very profound point. Very big point. So anyway, yeah, I love you all, really do. And I love you all differently. Yeah, that's it. Differently. I mean, how can you not love differently? I love you, the individual, according to what you are. It is precise, it's special, it's awesome relative to you. I compare it. That's the value of the love. That's loving less, is by comparing. No, not possible. Not possible. Not possible in the least. Okay. Now, Beena, are you going to go to bed right away, or do you have time for a little bit more? Because otherwise I'm going to end the live and then we can stay on Zoom. Well, I have to stay on Zoom anyway. So, so
Yes.
I'm going to end the live
Okay.
stream.
Okay. So thank you
Where
so
is it?
much, everyone. Please,
Yeah.
if you watch it recorded on YouTube or on Facebook, please do leave a comment and
Like Norma
click.
does.
Yes,
Not
yes,
just
and like.
comment. Norma leaves comments, plural, lots of them. And we do
Yes.
respond. At least I do. Beena doesn't always have the time and opportunity, but I do. Those are very important, those comments to me. I make an effort to go and respond to them all. Yes, that's a very big deal. Yeah. And to repeat the thing for your friend, let me know if you want me to send you the book in the file, to pass on to them. They can be an alpha reader. Yeah. I don't know if
Yes.
it's appropriate with your friend or not, but just in case. All right. Brilliant. 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 Brilliant.
Okay. Can I
All right.
say it
Bye-bye.
now?
What's that?
Yes. Okay. So, Vinay, I was just saying, okay, can I say it now that we are ending it?
Yes. Yes. We're ending it.
Okay,
Sorry. Yes.
okay,
Yes.
okay. So, okay, please, if you are watching us, thank you so much for watching us live. And if you are watching us recorded here on Facebook or on YouTube, please do like, subscribe, and of course, leave a comment there and share it also. Not just for your own sake, but also to set the algorithm for the better future. I'm not saying out of any ego, but actually it is. Please do
Yeah.
share that because the moreness is the real future we want.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
please set your algorithms
Exactly.
by clicking, liking, and making a comment.
There you go. And sharing. And sharing.
Yes.
Yeah. Sharing is important. All right. Stop live stream. Bye bye, everybody.